control me. Why does this airplane go so slowly? Blood faster, take me home to you.
Shelby Lynne is an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist, generally perceived as being country. In 2001, she won a Grammy for Best New Act for her 1999 album, I Am Shelby Lynne. This was interesting as it was her sixth album and it was her 12th year in her career, so she wasn't really a new act. Still, it was her breakthrough album. She has released 13 more studio albums since then. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album I Am Shelby Lynne by Shelby Lynne. It was released in the year 1999. It was her sixth album, and was the album that won her a Grammy for being Best New Artist. And it's my first time listening to it. And this has been labelled as country pop by several people, and I'm going to go, nah, maybe. I'm not really convinced that the word country applies very strongly here. There are a few places where there's a bit of pedal steel guitar, but mostly that and a little bit of the twang in her accent. But mostly I'm going to say it's not. I'm going to say claim that, well, I'm going to get the kind of broader category of Americana fused with rock or pop, with particular elements of jazz and soul in here. But singer-songwriter in that she is a singer-songwriter, and in that it does stylistically plunder from all sorts of different areas where it wants to, which is definitely seems to be a singer-songwriter thing. Generally, we're at the lighter end of the musical spectrum. There's quite a variety of feel, as I say here. There's quite a bit of sensitively done strings in the background. That was the thing that surprised me about the album, is how much backing strings there is going on. In fact, the first track is recorded in such a way that I didn't know where it was. I tend to do a listen, then I read, then I listen, and I wasn't paying attention to what year this was released. The first track, Your Lies, sounded like it might have been recorded in the 60s even. And then we got into it, and it was obviously recorded later than that. So there's some callbacks to previous styles, definitely here. Soul is the thing that I don't think anybody else had said about this, and I'm going to claim it here. And some of this is about having the way the backing singers are, the way the chords feel, the way the different instrumentation feels in it. And there were several songs where I thought, if you imagined that she was black and you just heard this song on its own, you would definitely say it was soul, and it fits with that soul ideas. However, the other thing that I got very strongly through was feelings of Sheryl Crow. So I keep talking about this. I do a listen, then I read, then I listen. On my first listen, I didn't know anything about this. The only thing I'd got was that I'd heard of her, and I had the impression that she was country of some kind. I also thought that she actually was earlier than this, but I got that wrong. And as I say, I got quite a bit of Sheryl Crow feelings in that. She's got a similar voice. She uses it in similar ways. Some of the production, especially the voice processing, sounded very Sheryl Crow to me. Some of the song structures, some of the instrumentation sounded like some of the Sheryl Crow stuff. And in particular, some of the internal key changes where you change keys to go to a chorus or something like that. The other person that reminded me of times was Norah Jones. Now, I mentioned the listen, read, listen thing. In my read, I found out that it was actually produced by and co-written by a guy called Bill Bottrell, or Betrayal, who produced and co-wrote Tuesday Night Music Club by Sheryl Crow, Sheryl Crow's debut album. I can definitely hear that connection and the similarities there, and that makes complete sense to me. So music-wise and production-wise, I really liked it. It engaged me quite a lot. Singing is nice. She's got a nice, versatile voice. She's got a bit of vulnerability. She's got a little bit of sass in there. The songs are mostly about life, love, and loss, which are the classics, and some of them are quite engaging. The songs, I would say, quite a bit. I really enjoyed listening. I wrote my notes here. I've ended up listening 3+ times. I've actually now ended up listening up 4 times to this album, just for circumstances and logistics. Normally, I just do 2 listens. Partly this was because I knew I've had a massive backlog of these reviews to write and record, and I just rather than getting into a new album, I kind of went, oh, let's just have a bit of that again. Often when I'm driving about, um, and it's a grower. As I've heard it several times, it's been growing on me. I've very much enjoyed this album. So, for anyone who likes female singer-songwriters, especially people like Sheryl Crow or Nora Jones, who I've mentioned before, Katie Melua or Katie Tunstall or somebody like that, you might really enjoy it. I loved it. And as always, I'd love to know what you think of this album. So please share that with me by leaving me a comment. And that's it from me for now.
Waste away nothing in the dark, dusty tomb, looking for the traces of what used to be a room. Wipe away the blood from a tormented brow, solve the crooked problem, never asking how.